say a special thank you to all my champions in the house. We've been having so much fun at Tribeca. Thank you to Auntie Joke. Thank you to Omni. There's Bella. If I forget your name, don't be angry. Brenda, everyone at CC Hub, thank you all for making this happen for us. Thank you all. Please, I see all my friends, Mr. Victor, I see MM. Thank you all for coming. Thank you all for being here with us.
Stephanie Linus, filmmaker, actress. Stephanie Linus uses cinema to confront difficult social issues. Her award-winning film, Dry, brought global attention to child marriage and women's reproductive health, cementing her as one of the strongest voices in advocacy-driven filmmaking.
Ma, I don't want to marry now.
Halima, you are too young to understand. You are young and this is the right time.
I paid a lot of money to have you as my wife.
Stop.
Push!
I wish I could die.
We can't save every life.
I want to be a girl again. Can you get that for me?
Uh-oh. Well, I've been working in this space for a long time, so I'm actually very aware about certain issues that have been raised in the conversation. But of course, it's just the nuances, the little things that sort of like slip through the racks that when we had the conversation and some of the education and master classes that we had, that it sort of like brings something that you're thinking, but it just kind of gives you the language or an awareness in your head and make you be more alert when you're creating content and stuff like that. Even the issue of, I remember when they say the gender colors, when they say the color it had to be this color, and also when they say women, you like pink. And also, most women like blue. Do you understand? Yeah. So, so sort of like the conditioning that happens that early on, that sort of like set the pace that sometimes you don't even know that you're working in them. And so those silent things that sort of like form your mind or your approach towards things, and you think you're independently thinking about them, but somehow is some little subliminal things that have been put or programmed, gently in your head that you can't really, it's not tangible, but it's just there. So, just being aware, being able to, so in the conversation and the classes that we had, the fact that they broke down all those stereotypes, the fact that they say, look at it two different lenses. You look at it from the female side, look at it from the male side, and then find a middle ground. And the middle ground is, we as society, what is good? What is the universal good that will make someone that, we put it in this situation, people will say, this is good. Good for this side and good for that side. But also taking into consideration cultural beliefs, religious beliefs, personal beliefs, and so many other things. So there's been a lot of enlightenment from this association, this conversation that we've had, and has kind of like, opened my eyes more to also see things through and be more detailed, especially when you're telling your stories, the kind of stories you want to tell, how you want to develop the characters, how you want to resolve different issues that you're not afraid to take on, but maybe give a different perspective to us, get people to see, you're thinking this way, but have you thought about it this way? So I think that's what the conversation and the program has sort of like opened us to sort of like think outside the box and have an open mind, to not be afraid actually to confront certain things. So those are the things that I have learned in the program, and it's been quite enriching as well.
noticing scenarios where men are supporting women actively and intentionally as well. And I mean, the scenario you presented also definitely makes sense, because we know in politics it's so hard for women to get money, to get access to funding and all of that. So getting men who support the women's vision and see how they can help them achieve that vision makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So that's probably what we need to focus on.
Yeah. So that's the way they can win the elections, right?
Yeah.
I think sometimes, these things come to you, and maybe I'm a Libra. I hate injustice in all form of it. So that's any injustice. You see, my body starts twitching. How can we make it right? And also, being a creative person, I understand the power that we possess and the fact that I have the ability to create. And in that creation, you can actually create the world that you want to see and how people want to be represented. So like Drive, for instance, like I said, I was in school. A friend of mine came in from the north. She was it was some school like that. So I was in University of Calabar. And she came to visit me, and she told me about the story about the young girls who end up getting married and then having this medical condition. And I was actually very flabbergasted. I was shocked and surprised. And I was wondering, in this same Nigeria, we're having that kind of experience. But that's, in my head, I was just saying, this is injustice. Why can this happen? How can we allow this to happen? Something has to be done. So it's in the process of something having to be done, led me into that pathway of researching. So the seed was planted in my head by that singular story that my friend told me. And the ripple effect was for me to start researching. And then the more I asked, and then I started volunteering my services to different NGOs just to understand it from the different perspectives. So I did a whole lot of research before I went into the film. And even when I was telling them I was going to do a project about that, they were like, how are you going to tell the story? I said, well, leave it for the filmmakers to find an angle. And, when the film came out, it was critically acclaimed, won Best Movie in Africa, Best Nigerian Film. It was just winning all kinds of awards. I met the Queen of England through it. But my most satisfying part was the fact that they banned child marriage in Gambia when the Vice President of Gambia saw the film. And the film has a long rope. So my film project is not just one film. My film is a classic. Any day, anytime you pick up the film. If you watch Dry right now, you're going to bring out your plug and say, where are we going for this battle? Do you understand? And that's exactly even what happened, even the partnership I have with the George Washington University. When they watched the film, they partnered with my NGO to say, how are we going to help these women? Even the fact they started talking about maternal health issues in Nigeria was based on the fact that Dry was made. And I had people who walk up to me and said, I started my NGO, I just watching your film. This is what I did when I watched this film. This is the impact. So the impact has been for a long time. Even as of last year, it was screened at the World Bank. It's still making impact, in terms of how that happened. So I think that's just how the story came to be. So sometimes you wonder as a filmmaker, it's not like you wanted to tell this impact, but it just happened that the story is available, there's a vacuum, and how do you fill it? And I'm also happy that a lot of filmmakers even started doing films like that, not just to only do, so people started doing more films because we have the power to actually speak to society and shape it the way we want to do it. And the tool of filmmaking is that part. And, and so many good things have come out, even the award that I won and all of that. So the other part was me hearing the stories of like, okay, what is the next film project? It has to be bigger. And that's when The Women Were Counted dropped, and it's about the About Women's Riot of 1929. And the film has been calling me a few years. Many people have been trying to do it, try to dodge it, but it looks like, sometimes you find a project that is yours to do. Sometimes if it's not yours, even when you try to do it, forget it. Do you understand? So I've been trying to dodge, but it looks like the film is calling me. So it's calling, I'm like, okay, maybe I have to speak to you because I know, I see you. I see the angle. I see where you're going. I can see the film from beginning to the end, and I know what I can do with you. So that's how I approach projects. So with this particular film project we're going to embark on, I'm going to take it to a different level of how women voices needs to be heard in our country and the African continent, and how the impact that they've had. it is going to be the mother of women's movement in Africa. And sometimes I feel I'm equipped. You know, I could see the vision of it. And sometimes you want to shy away from it, but I know that I'm equipped to tell the story. So do you understand? And so sometimes that's how story making come, because it comes with a certain kind of power that you need to give to that story, and the story will run. So that's where I'm like, okay, this is the story that needs to be told, because I could see the shifts that is going to have both for the women before, the women now, and the women coming. So that's, you know, where the thing comes. And it falls in line with, that's why even having this experience is so interesting, because now I have to even go revisit the script and make sure I'm hitting all the thematic areas and looking at it with a different lens and say, what am I missing? What can I add? What can I reshape? And what do I need to amplify? So, you know, so that is just the way it is. So I'm really happy to be here to have this experience. And I look forward to collaborating with a lot of people to make this work.
Well, today I just woke up, and again, Justice Bochanya continues to fill our timeline. I saw all your tags and comments. So many of you said you immediately thought about my movie Dry, and right there, it just hit me again. Like, people need to see this film. This is why I made Dry in the first place. To be a catalyst for change, to educate, to inform, to stir us into action, to make us uncomfortable enough to demand change, so that cases like Bochanya never happens again. You know? Because I know this film was born out of pain, the pain of young girls whose voices were ignored, whose lives were cut short because of abuse, silence, and neglect. Bochanya's case is a really sad one. It is a reflection of what is still happening in many homes, in schools, and systems that is supposed to protect us. And like I say, you don't touch the children. Be it a male or a female, you just don't go there. You know? Every girl deserves safety. Every survivor deserves justice. Every community must speak when silent costs lives. I know a lot is happening in our society, and sometimes we've become so desensitized, we don't even know where to start from, because there's a lot happening. A lot, so you don't even know where to begin. But like I said, you just don't touch the children.
There's something else about as a filmmaker. I can see a way that I can amplify the voices of this women, and I decided to do something about it. See, till then, the first film I did was all comedy, all fun. But something turned in me that there's an injustice here, that I feel that my platform can shed a light to this film.
Being a champion is looking at my environment, looking at issues that sort of like speaks to me or speak to women's issues or things that people haven't talked about that I feel that I need to lend my voice to amplify it. So being a champion means a whole lot of things, and having this experience with CC Hub, it's amazing, because this sort of like solidify the things that we're doing, help us, equip us better, and also give us access to a whole lot of things. And being a champion is looking out for people to give them maybe a better direction to do things, or maybe to shed light to maybe an idea or things that they sort of like see differently, or give them a different example or a different way to approach different subject matters. So being a champion means a whole lot of things to me. So I am glad to have this experience, and I look forward to championing.
With training from the New York Film Academy, she continues to center women's lives and dignity in her work. In addition to her filmmaking, Stephanie Linus served as the UNFPA Regional Ambassador for West Africa and Central Africa from 2017 to 2020. During her ambassadorship, she advocated publicly for maternal and reproductive health, youth rights, and gender equity. She also visited the Democratic Republic of Congo on International Day to end obstetric fistula.
Okay, that's Vero. Vero! Hi! How you doing? How you doing? Fine, thank you. So let's go. Okay, this is our home. Oh.
to think about yourself to empower the future. So you're not with all that knowledge. Is it the fear that the man is going to punch you? So we're dealing with gender-based violence in the home.
That's another type of power.
Everyone is talking about gender-based violence, and it's really something that we need to look into.
Truly, the program is an enlightening one for everybody, irrespective of age.
He can't get away with this. You know, my mom used to tell me that if something like this was to happen to me, I shouldn't be afraid. I should speak out. He won't get away with this. We'll report him to the principal. He might have other victims.
And that is why at the Extended House Foundation, we've partnered with Ford Foundation to bring this awareness to our schools and local communities.
We've learned about domestic violence, rape among young people, even among married people.
We don't suppose to be beating as if they are beating animals.
Screening dry and meeting with women living with fistula to raise awareness and demand change.
I've met a lot of women who, when you listen to their stories, you just break down and start crying about how callous some people can actually be. The story of the young girl we operated on in Ogoja, I mean, she had both RVF and fistula, meaning where the urine and the feces comes out at the same time. So meaning that definitely this person doesn't have a life, for sure. She can't work, she can't do anything. You know, she's not useful in the community because she's shy and she's sort of like, you know, reserved, and, you know, nobody wants to talk to her. And we were able to repair the girl, and I was actually glad about it. I met a woman who had fistula since 1976, and she only got repaired, that was in 2010. And there's another woman who had it before the Nigerian Civil War, and that's like she got repaired at 80-something. So you can imagine you trying to go in to figure out what is the psychological trauma that these people are going through.
People are not aware that they can actually get help. And sometimes they are confused. Both the parents and the child, they are also confused in that situation, especially when it's someone that is a relative or someone that you trust. So, and also you've not seen enough examples put out there, or you've heard that this is when this happened to this person, this is what happened. So there's, you know, you feel helpless, and there's not enough awareness. Whether we like it or not in Nigeria, there's not enough awareness on the pathways of when you find yourself in this situation, this is how to report.
So we're doing the African Film Spotlight in partnership with Tribeca. Del York is partnering with Tribeca to bring this to Fusion. Like 2 years ago, I was a jury member at the Tribeca Film Festival, and you know, we all thought about how can we expand this reach, and how can we have a place for African creative to have a place in the festival. And it started off by saying, okay, let's have this. This is like the first step of many things to come. So let's have a panel, let's have a dual room, just put together like an event and to show their willingness of making sure that African voices are heard on their platform. So we're looking for so many opportunities and networking opportunities here. And I'm actually very grateful for the Tribeca team and also our sponsors who also made it happen. Afiesm and Bank of Industry, who understood what we're trying to do, UN Women, and who understood what we're trying to do, and make sure that we all came together to make this happen. So yeah, so we're hoping that we get to meet. We're hoping that, I mean, the conversation that they're having is actually very brilliant, because these are people who are already doing stuff in the African continent, and we are hoping to have more collaborations like that, because our stories need to go more global, and we need to have more market access and more funding and more strategic partnerships, especially in infrastructure training and so forth and so on. So that's basically what we're doing now, the African Film Spotlight in Tribeca.
I'll introduce you to African cinema and also some of the things that our sponsors do. Thank you so much and have a great day.
So the scenario really is because in politics, most times we know that in Africa it's men that win elections because money wins elections, right? So what we need to do is show the role that men can play in helping women to win elections, right? Because that's political and economic empowerment. Yeah, sure, you understand? So,
and to think about the films that I would bring here today in ways that would hopefully help and be of service to the work that you guys are making and want to make. So that's a really powerful thing for me, and I hope it's helpful for you. I'm leaving you guys with, you'll have sort of the whole presentation that I made today because there were some films that I skipped.
For using film to change injustice and inspire social change, Stephanie Linus is our champion.